Hello, today is Tuesday, the 22nd of April of 2025. I just wanted to come on and say hi, and I hope everyone's doing well. Um, on Sunday, on Easter Sunday, I went to my grandmother's local. She's local, and my aunt is watching my grandmother right now. She's caring for her. My grandmother has severe dementia, and she's tried doing like escaping and getting away from my aunt, and so things are kind of serious with that situation. And my father's feeling like she's slipping away from us, slowly or quickly rather, and that we don't know how much longer we have with her. So on Easter, I went with my dad and my aunt, or my aunt was there. I went with my dad to my grandmother's to visit, and my aunt had made dinner for us, or early lunch, a meal for us. But that day I found out more things about the history of my family. My dad's younger brother, only brother. He was the youngest in his family. His name is Robert. They called him Bob or Bobby. I think Bob. And I knew that he was schizophrenic, and I knew that he had had some pretty rough times being a schizophrenic. And for my dad and his family, his parents and his siblings, they're really religious or Christian, and so everything to them that my Uncle Bob was going through in his life was demonic, and so they'd pray against it, and they didn't know what else to do. They'd just yell like, we're angry with him. And I heard that my uncle would put on something like a cape and go into Catholic churches and drink holy water. And I heard some other things that he had done that were like making a shrine to who knows, and using his own feces and stuff to make an a pentagram and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know if it's demonic. It sounds demonic, but I think there's more to this world spiritually than we were aware of. And I know that my Uncle Bob didn't get the help that he was seeking after, probably why he was drinking holy water. And then also I heard that he was dealing with being really overly sexualized and sleeping with spirits or wanting to sleep with his own family members. So it was pretty harsh sounding and spooky to hear it. My Uncle Bob passed away, I believe it was 1984. He had exited this world on his own terms with a gun. And but there's also rumors since my grandfather's passed in 2017 that it wasn't my uncle that did that, but it was my grandfather that did that to him, that ended his life. So I don't know what is true in my family. Is like lots of stuff that's gone on, but I know that I'm schizophrenic, and I've went through some things which, like I said, I can't explain. I don't know the truth of the matter, but it definitely was spiritual, not all good spiritual. things were my decision to act and be a certain way during my breaks in 2010 and 2020, psychotic breaks. But since then, and especially since November, around Thanksgiving of 2024, came to the decision that I didn't want to live like that anymore, in the way I was living, with my hallucinations and emotions and everything caught up in this repetitive kind of cycle of lustfulness and just wanting, desiring something beyond myself. And but I stepped away from it because I decided to care for myself and to love myself, and not to chase after this lustfulness, that was inside me. And that's not who I really am, and that's not what I want to be. That's not all that I mean, I felt those things, but I stepped away from it because I didn't want to experience the things I was experiencing, and the hurt that it was bringing to my husband and myself. I've told my husband everything, throughout my breaks that I've experienced and things I was going through, and he has been witness to them. And he always kept telling me, I don't consider you an adulteress. I don't consider you having any kind of affair or anything, because you're schizophrenia and you're having delusions, and it's not physical. It's not in the physical, but for me, it did feel real. And for me, it did feel like I was betraying him, even though I was telling him everything that's going on with me. And I told him that I chose him over my delusions. I chose reality, this physical world, over the imaginary, the spiritual world of what I was experiencing. And then to come find out what happened with my uncle Bob, and then also other relatives that had experienced similar things in their schizophrenia, it just makes me really wonder what if it was a curse in my family line. And I walked away from it. I don't want anyone else to experience what I experienced. Like I said, it wasn't all bad, because it was like playing around, but then getting deep into things, and I felt like I was hurting myself, especially, and hurting people around me. And it was, believe it or not, whether it was real or delusional, it was children that made me stop what I was doing, because they said it was gonna kill them, it was gonna hurt them. And I was like, I don't want to be killing people. Whether or not that was delusional, it really put me in it really stopped me from wanting to pursue anymore with this lustfulness that was inside of me. So whenever I feel like memories of what I went through, like in 2020, come back up, I just remember like those children screaming out, you're gonna kill us, please don't stop. And then also remembering my uncle Bob and what he went through, and how he stopped his torture by ending his life. So, and I don't want to come to that for me. And in my family. So, and also I was hearing this song that I've listened to before, Tori Amos song, singing, called Winter, where it says, and the line of the song is, when are you going to make up your mind? When are you going to love you as much as I do? Because things are going to change. But it was like, so I decided to love myself and to care for myself and my family, and to make these changes internally and in my heart. And now I know I've been protected by God and angels and guardian angels. I know that His favor is over my life. I know that He's been with me through everything. You know, the quiet whisper in the back of your mind saying, you know, you don't have to live like this. You don't have to keep going like this. You know you're hurting, and this isn't helping you. This is making things worse. So thank you, God, for helping me to get out of that cycle. And I feel like it was I imposed it on myself. It wasn't, yes, I'm schizophrenic and I was hallucinating, but I also feel like it was my decisions that had brought that on to me. But it was also my decisions to walk away from that. And I thank God for us having free will to make the decisions in our lives that can totally change things. But now I spend my time, probably too much time, streaming things online on social media, but I have a love for people that God has given me, and I've experienced schizophrenia, but I've also experienced my daughter having schizophrenia and being on the outside looking in and knowing what she's going through and the triggers and her thoughts in her mind, and being in the Johnson unit, holding her hand, just looking into her eyes saying, I'm here with you. You're not alone. I won't forget that. And just thank God she's come through it, and God told me He loves her more than I do. As much pain as she was feeling and that I was feeling watching her go through that, God said that, I love her more and I'll take care of her. She's not alone. And He took care of her, even though she might not be aware of it. I know that He was with her. It was just quite the experience to be schizophrenic, experience all these things, triggers and things in my mind, and then to see from the outside looking in through someone else who's experiencing things that I've experienced, and knowing what they're going through, but also in that moment being the person on the outside looking in, saying, what's going on? How can I help? It's just quite a thing to have experienced and gone through, and have knowledge of both sides, looking in and being the one inside, trapped inside, looking out. So I would say, for anyone dealing with mental health issues, to keep going and know that there is hope. There is, if you have faith and trust in something beyond yourself, or even trust in yourself to get through what you're going through, just trust and believe that you have the strength within you to make the decision to choose not to think a certain way, because I've gone through that and I've made decisions. I'm not going to feel this way about the people around me. I'm going to choose not to think in those negative patterns anymore, because all it does is bring me down and make me upset. It makes me angry and frustrated. So it's best, we have free will, and if our minds are so powerful that we could choose, what we're thinking, how we perceive things. And if you change slightly how your perception is of the world around you and the people around you, if you stop seeing people around you as being enemies or someone that you're competing with, and just see other people as just like you, who have struggles and addictions, or just temptations, or like things in their lives. Like, I feel like we can help each other if we really want to, and I want to do more to help others like myself. But praying helps me, and meditating and focusing on love and focusing on the goodness that God created this earth, the good things in this life, family, friends, laughing, like sharing stories, sharing time together with other people. And I pray that people have those kinds of experiences in life, that they have people to share with, that they have people that love them. And God loves all of us, but we need to love each other too. So I just ask that if you see someone who might be in a state of mind that's troubling or scary looking, to be gracious to them as God is gracious to us, because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what their mindset is at, what they're experiencing internally, the dialogue that they have internally. So just try to show grace and mercy to those who are dealing with mental health issues. That's what I'd ask. And I thank you. Thank you for listening. I love you, and I'll be praying for all of you and for myself as well. I hope you have a good day. God bless.